Welcome back everyone to Welstopia, and today we are going to be preparing our next project, which is going to be a replica of the Lighthouse of Pharos. The Lighthouse of Pharos was one of the wonders of the ancient world. In fact, the most utilitarian of the seven ancient wonders, because it actually served as an active lighthouse for 1,000 years, which is a pretty good record considering the pounding that the average lighthouse goes through. And Pharos was an island, was of course being an essential word to the whole thing, because by the time the lighthouse was built, it was a bit more of a peninsula because there was a little bit of a land connection to the mainland that eventually became Alexandria was built on. So in this case, we have this pretty much island except for a little bit of a land bridge here. So for that perspective, it's perfect. Now this is a little bit small. I may wind up extending it a bit. And Pharos should be a bit flatter. Now whether that's because they flattened it out when they built the lighthouse or because it was originally flat, I don't know. But I'm going to be getting rid of these trees, flattening this out, maybe extending it a little bit, and this will be a site for my lighthouse. Now, the reason I'm choosing this site is because this is the entryway into the bay, and this bay then is connected to my harbor. So instead of a harbor lighthouse, as Pharos was, this is going to be a bay entry lighthouse, and we'll have the smaller lighthouse to lead them specifically to the harbor location. And I think that will be most fitting. But that will be my project for 2017. What we need now, though, is one final project to close out 2016 and to usher in the new year. And for that, I am going to go back and head for my base. For today, I'm just going to build a little something to welcome in the new year. But before I do that, I would like to flatten this out because I want a nice little even thing right in front of my lighthouse. I must say that excavating dirt goes a lot faster when you are next to your base with a quad beacon. I do have this stone remaining right here, so I'm also going to take that out and I'm going to replace that with dirt so that I have a consistent ground in front of it. I know, boring, but yeah, I like consistency. Now that my sense of symmetry has been satisfied, I can get down to work on my little project. And the first step of this is to be making fireworks. If I'm going to make any fireworks, I'm going to need some gunpowder. I've done a little change in this room so that now I've added arrows over here. I replaced a rarely gained fish with the zombie flesh. We now have bones, and we now have gunpowder here to account what I'm getting at the mob drop farm. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking 3 stacks of gunpowder, plus some paper, head back over to my base where I am going to be constructing some fireworks, and see what nice little things I can do to show off. I haven't dealt with fireworks before, but it's high time that I took a try at it, especially with 1.11.2 coming up. I know it's already been released, but for some reason the host has not yet done the update, so I guess I'll be doing my first fireworks instead of for flying. I will instead do it for some New Year's festivities. Now, the type I'll be using for flying won't be fancy with stars or anything like that, but I thought that it'd probably be best to use fancy ones for a New Year's celebration, so that's what we'll be doing right here. Now, if I understand how to make a star properly, you do this and you get fireworks stars. So this is a little brown twinkle here. And I'm going to make 4 different styles of stars. There are 5 different types I know of, but I'm not going to get a creeper head in order to do a creeper head star. You know that. Perhaps I brought a few too many supplies for this. I think our next one I want is the bluish star, which we'll take. Alright. Set of gunpowder, some lapis, diamonds. It's an expensive one, and gold. Firework, blue shaped star with a trail. Boy, this is not going to be a cheap one. No, fireworks are not cheap. Actually, some of the others are. Speaking of fireworks, looks like we've got ourselves a thunderstorm. Now for our orange firework, we just need feathers for that one. That's a strange thing for fireworks, but okay. So that gives us our orange star. And then that just leaves our green star. I only have 7 green dye. Alright. But I put some more on the cooking so that I would have enough for this particular project. Okay, so let's get this up here. Some of this glowstone dust. Well, yeah. I'm going to need to get a little bit of that. I was afraid for a moment that I would have to grind some of my glowstone into dust in order to do this, but I did manage to scrounge 15 glowstone dust, which should suffice for my purposes. So let's get that, and of course gunpowder. And oh, I got a green tinkle in addition to a burst. So I got a light one instead of a one with the burst, and then with a little bit of a burst and a twinkle in there. So therefore, that'll give me a total of 64 stars. And I just have to turn these into some little firecrackers here. And that's going to take some paper, some gunpowder, and I guess one of these stars. I think some of them might require different numbers. Alright. Flight duration 2, small brown twinkle. Okay, we'll try that. Oh, these return quite a well. Alright. That was probably a bit more than I was expecting, but alright. Here we go. We put some here into there. Good. Ah, okay. I wound up creating some regular ones on top of it, didn't I? Yeah, okay, yes. I'll only have 16 paper there, so I don't accidentally do that again. Alright, here we go for our fireworks for our star shape. Good. And then we'll have our starships for our orange burst. Good. And that leaves us our green, right? Well, you got the idea. I'll have to make that after I get some more gunpowder for it. But now I have a large amount of fireworks. And that's what the plan is. For this, I'm also going to be needing a pair of dispensers. And in order to do that, I'm going to need a bow. And I figure the best thing to do for a bow is to... I'm suspecting that it's not going to allow me to use a damaged bow, so I'll just take some of all these old bows that I've been collecting at mob farms and all that stuff, collect them together, create a fixed bow. I figure I need to get rid of some of these things anyway, because let's face it, these bows aren't worth anywhere near as much as the space that they're consuming right now. So therefore, combining lots of them into a single bow and all right, one more. And turning them into droppers is probably a good use for them. And I really need to calculate that a little bit better. Alright, this is... Alright, that should certainly be more than enough to fill this up. Might have been just easier for me to take a couple of sticks and some string, because I certainly have plenty of string. Alright, so let's get our dispenser done as soon as I sleep. Now for a dispenser or two, I'm going to be using 2 of these, which is why I made 2 bows. And let's put some redstone here. Another dispenser here. Good. And I'll use this in order to set off my fireworks. Now I want to test this to see whether or not it works. Fortunately, I made a super abundance of fireworks here, so spending a little bit of it in order to make this is not going to be a major problem. I think right here, good. Let's throw in a little... let's try something pretty with the star shape. I know they're the most expensive ones too. And I'm going to need a... Oh, that's... Alright. Yeah, that's my inventory thing. Can I make a button here? I have to admit, I was expecting something a little bit... Oh. Maybe it went that way because that's the way I was facing? Open this up. Alright, let's try the orange one. Hey, I want... Wrong type of fireworks. And now let's have a look at it. Alright, now what happens if I use this one here, which now I have facing upwards? I see it fly way up into the air, but I don't see anything bursting or anything like that. Maybe I'll need to wait till nighttime. But at least it causes it to lift off. That's easy enough now. There we go. But I'm going to need to make my sign and put that up before we can continue. The sign is going to be fairly straightforward. We're just going to have the year in lights in glowstone, preferably without making mistakes like that. So therefore we want this to be visible from that end. Alright, it'll be like that. Let's see, 2. Yeah, there we go. Alright, make sure I can see this. Oh! Alright, I wasn't expecting to actually hit it with my hands, but alright. There you go, there's our 2. Alright, 0, 1, and then a 7 for the new year. 2, 3, 4, 5, and do this, and it's probably the simplest thing in the whole build. Alright, and now let's have a look at that. There you go, 2017 to help welcome the new year. And hopefully that'll look really nice at night, which means I'll have to go a night without sleeping so we can have a look at that. But also, the fireworks will probably look better at night. But to do the fireworks, I'm going to need an automatic timer. And I suspect to do that, I'm probably going to have to use some comparators, a couple of hoppers, and try doing a hopper clock. Oh, I haven't done one of those before. Let's see if I can do it successfully. I was considering using a hopper clock, but perhaps a simple counter clock would be more to my purpose. Now, what I'm thinking is, we put putting a little dust here. Oops. A repeater. Alright, some dust here, dust there. Around like that. And we'll put get rid of that. Repeater there, repeater there, repeater there, repeater there. And of course, we'll need something to invert it, right? Or actually, let's see how long the signal is, then that will tell us whether or not we need to do anything on that matter. Well, well, that wasn't quite a clock. Oh, of course, because all the repeaters are... Yeah, we need the repeaters going in the opposite direction here in order for it to turn into a clock. Now, let's see what happens. No. Okay, I'll need to put in an inversion, and that's easy enough. I'll actually use the torch for that. It's going to stay on forever. Well, there's a way to take care of that. And I'll be back. Since this is a temporary setup, I'm not going around the trouble of hiding the redstone, but this is what I decided to do in the end. I have a series of repeaters right over here. Actually, let's put a little delay into these. And we have a series of repeaters. There's a switch that'll turn the whole thing on. Torch to invert our signals so that we will turn on or off. Circuit will circle or go around and around and around. And whenever it hits one of these, whenever it hits one of the dispensers, it should shoot up the fireworks and give us our show. That means all that we've got left to do is to wait until it's dusk, turn the thing on, and see if we get our little 2017 welcome fireworks show. Dusk is approaching, and my night lights are on, so that obviously means we're getting close. Sky's starting to get dark. Hopefully no one in the server decides it's a good time to sleep. And yeah, the moon's coming up, so let us flip it on, head out into a boat, and see if we can get our... Wow, pretty! And here you have it, our little light show for welcoming in 2017. Some really nice, pretty effects here. And it's good that I figured out how to do all these fireworks and how to get them to come, and I think the delays I put in are reasonable. So it's giving me a nice little show here. So everyone, have a happy and safe new year, and may 2017 bring you many nice mining experiences. Until next time, this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to mine responsibly.